So we took Ben to see his grandma and do an Easter egg hunt, and he had a really fun time this morning opening his Easter basket.
Okay. There's a chocolate bunny and a lot of other stuff. This chocolate bunny.
Yeah.
This requires a lot. This requires a lot of milk chocolate. May contain tree nuts.
All that stuff. Oh my goodness. Now it's on to getting work done. So given that my hair tends to grow at the speed of like a chia pet and become like a very giant afro, which I don't think looks really great on me, I had to basically cut my hair. I cut my own hair. I've been doing this for years, and during the pandemic it's been a really helpful tool. And then I have my wife do my neck. Haircut is complete. Yes. That's a much needed thing. With Easter and all of that stuff out of the way, now it's time to sit down and finish the flats that I started on my last Vloggins. You'll have seen me working on these pages for a pitch project that's for my literary agent. I have to do 5 pages total, and this is page 3 of a graphic novel that we're pitching that takes place in Victorian times, and I can't really give too much information about it. But needless to say, I've been trying to get these completed so that basically I can then get back to working on 2 stories, my graphic novel about faith and mental illness, book 2, which I have a lot of progress done on. The way that I'm working on these is it's a little different than usual. Usually I'll do colors underneath inks. In this case, I'm actually doing the colors overlaid over the inks as flats with no rendering or anything like that, just to get a certain effect. The effect that I'm hoping for is like a tint, almost like if you were doing color versions overlaid over like black and white film. And that way we'll have a good 5-page sequence that shows some of the main characters, so that a publisher, if they were looking at our pitch, there's a full script that's written by my sister, and when they see the full script, they'll get a good this is a good way for them to visualize what the final project will look like. However, it's funny on a day like today where, you know, we had a lot of family things, a lot of basic things, just basic self-maintenance stuff like getting a haircut, stuff like that, that just constantly kind of kept interfering with my ability to get to these pages. The neat thing, and the thing that I take a lot of pride in as an illustrator and a cartoonist, is that you can kind of find these windows of time, regardless of how busy things get, to get work done. And so in this case, what you'll see is me gradually going through isolating flat colors for all the different areas of the art, and hopefully, I mean, this is definitely a sped up view of the process, but hopefully this gives you like a rough idea of what all I did and how I managed to complete all of this work. Right now I'm flatting panel 1, and this is obviously, like I said, you know, a sped up version of it. But this is probably a good hour to an hour and a half of work, and the nice thing is, now that I'm pretty close to done with this, I think the next thing that I want to try to do is either record a song or work on the next panel, but I also need to read Fun Home and take notes for that. It's a book I really like. It's the one that I'm going to be reviewing tomorrow on the Indie Review Show. And that's a show that Corey Kerr and I do to basically, which you can check out at irsagency.com. But we basically do that show to try to highlight different independent work in comics so that people get more exposure to them. Fun Home is definitely a book a lot of people don't need more exposure to because it's like an international bestseller and stuff like that. But at the same time, I still meet people who have yet to read this excellent book, and it's one of the best graphic novels really ever written. So anyhow, that being said, when we prep for these reviews, we try to do due diligence and really go over the book in pretty heavy detail. So that requires a lot of extensive notes. So I'm hoping to make time for that tonight, but I also am really eager, as you saw on my last Vloggins, you'll probably see that I was pretty eager to try to get to either recording a song or working on the next page of this pitch. Either way, whatever I decide, I guess we'll have to find out. But I am feeling a little more accomplished and a little better about having finished these pages. That being said, even this sped up view, you can see it's a pretty tedious process. Most of this is made complicated due to the fact that it is shaded, rendered black and white. And so in the case of like art where it's black and white with just solid black and white lines with no gray areas in between, and you have aliased lines, which means that when you zoom in it's a stepladder, it doesn't end up being as complex. But this one was complex, but here we are done. So I'm glad to have gotten those flats out of the way. Now I gotta go bathe my kid, and then after that we'll see what I get into, whether it's music or another panel, before I have to do notes for Fun Home. So music it is. I have like a brief window to like track maybe one little lick before I have to do bedtime with them. And I'm recording using GarageBand and like a Scarlett Solo USB on a Fender Telecaster Pro, which was like my dream guitar growing up. So it's kind of cool that I was able to pick up one of those about a year ago. Guitar I wanted my whole life. I don't know if I should caper it a little bit. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm good to track it. Okay, dogs are freaking out, but I think I got one thing tracked. So I didn't get to track an entire song, but I did track a little riff that I can then loop and kind of reuse for guitar parts for an upcoming song. So like the beginning building blocks for a song. I did want to do like some bass guitar and like maybe a drum beat or something just for that riff, just to kind of figure out where I'm going. But I actually think for now I'm gonna call it and just call it a night. The IRS stuff I might work on, which is the indie review show, which will be actually on Monday, which might actually be today, depending on when I upload this, will be available on irsagency.com at 9 p.m. Pacific time, where we're going to review Alison Bechdel's Fun Home, which is a great book, and Corey and I are going to discuss it, and I think it'll be really a really good episode. Other than that, I also would like to get a little further on this song, but I'm going to play you guys a little snippet as the closing comes out of the little riff that I did manage to track, just so you can know what I was working on that video. Thanks to everybody who is following these videos. Thank you. And if you haven't yet, hit like, hit the bell, hit subscribe. And the bell is particularly important because it'll notify you anytime I'm about to do a live stream or there's a new video up on my channel. Subscribing is also super helpful as well. So, that being said, thanks to everybody for watching, and I hope you're having a creative and productive art week and are overcoming your to-do lists and your challenges creatively. And also, if you're curious about that page, you can check out my Instagram, the page that I colored on here, Joshua Kemble on Instagram, and check out how that came out. How are all you guys doing on your art weeks? Have you hit all of your goals, or are you like me where you kind of make too many ambitious goals and then you just tick off a few of them? Anyhow, all right. I will see you guys probably tomorrow. Bye.